My name's Steve Swatton. I'm the CEO of CopperCorp Resources. It's a Canadian listed company on the TSX Venture exchange, and we have assets, copper assets in Tasmania. We have about 1,500 square kilometers at the moment, distributed between three different projects, and mainly we're looking at iron oxide, copper gold type deposits. But we also have some multi-commodity alkaline porphyry stroke IOCG. And just recently we acquired a new property which, to benefit, has some rare earths as well, some heavy rare earths, which we weren't anticipating.
Steve, good to have you. I haven't seen you. Well, we had a failed attempt at trying to interview you a couple of months ago, but down to because you were traveling around the world. But look, we haven't seen you, or the audience hasn't seen you since December. A lot's happened since then. You're banging out some quite good copper grades. I mean, tell us what you're seeing on that front from the last drills campaign.
Yeah, the final end of the last drill campaign at Alpine. I mean, we had 90 odd meters at 0.5% copper. And unfortunately for us, the grades were getting better at depth. And what we're finding is that there's two distinct zones. And as we're cutting across the two of them, the upper zone was about 24 meters at 1%. And the lower, it was somewhere between 0.5% and 0.75% over much wider grades. So, look, consequently, we'd like to drill some deeper holes down there, maybe up to 1,000 meters, just to see if we have a bulk tonnage underground. Or we're kind of working towards trying to develop a strategy for being able to drill these deeper holes, and maybe quite a few of them. But obviously, when you're going down to those depths, the cost of drilling a hole like that is about 250,000, 300,000. So internally, we have a strategy of maybe bringing in a senior partner.
Sorry, 250,000 what? It's what? How much?
Australian dollars.
Oh, you mean total? Not so you usually get a per meter rate. Okay, so Australian dollars.
At the end of the day, I mean, yeah, obviously it's getting cheap, more expensive as it's going down in general, and we look at the total cost. Yeah, the average cost per meter is somewhere between $200 and $300 per meter.
Okay, so in line with lots of places. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Tell me this, right? Because you're actually being quite brave. You're actually reporting copper numbers, not copper equivalent numbers. I guess that's because the grade's good and you don't need to kind of hide anything. But in terms of these other byproducts, I mean, again, what do you know about that at the moment? Is it just pure drill data, or are you starting to sort of see patterns which you can help you identify with?
Well, it's interesting. This type of IOCG that we have, Matt, is really lacking the G. So this is why we don't have to report the equivalents, but we do have cobalt. And we're not sure if the cobalt can actually be recovered. So look, a lot of these equivalents, as we had a little bit of a chat beforehand. I mean, they're always there to pump up the numbers, and the reality is if you can ever recover these is another question altogether. So in our case, the equivalent, strangely enough, would be iron. Savage River Mine is within 40, 50 kilometers of where we are. They have a slurry pipeline going down to their port facility, and that would be very close to our assets. So our copper equivalents would be including iron, but we haven't done the metallurgy to determine whether this is actually recoverable or not. And until that stage, we don't really want to report it. We got 18% iron in the mineralization that we have. Yeah, so we basically have iron, cobalt, and copper. That's
right. Okay. Interesting. Now, so just remind us, how much drilling have you done? Because it's heading into winter now. It's a lot of water around. Have you finished that drill program? How much did you drill, and when do you kind of kick off again?
Yeah, we did about 5,900 meters of drilling in total, and we drilled another area to the west, which we still don't think, just two holes on the west side, which is 400 meters away from the main Alpine. And we had one hole which we reported had nothing in it, and the other one actually didn't test the geophysical anomaly which we're going for. So we're unclear as to whether we're going to go back into that one. But then we continued our exploration program, taking advantage of the Tasmanian summer, and drilled a prospect called Dora, which had never ever been drilled before. It'd been actually discovered in the mid-1850s by some prospectors at the time. And although it's been known about, and there's some serious trenching and exploration adits gone on the ground. Nobody's actually drilled it. So we've drilled it, and we're just beginning to get some of the results back now. We're reporting those fairly soon. But that's in an area which is about 20 to 30 kilometers east of our main AMC Alpine project. And it's in a different belt suite of rocks. And therefore, we're expecting to get quite different numbers. I mean, some of the numbers that surfaced were spectacular. We had multi-gram gold, multi% copper, and a variety of base metals. So it's clearly a different type of IOCGs. And as you probably know, Matt, IOCGs come in any shape and form. And we have so many different types of IOCG that are listed, in the dictionary of IOCGs, that we have what's called an iron oxide, an iron apatite in Alpine. But the one at Dora, which is in the Skyline project, is probably a different type of IOCG, which has more of the base metals and precious metals too. So we're waiting on the results of that. We only drilled 770 odd meters into that one. And unfortunately, we had set up to drill a second hole, but the weather got in the way. It's not really the weather, it's the wind. The winds in that part of the world are pretty strong, and we couldn't get there. We needed to use a helicopter, and we couldn't helicopter between the two. Now, the reason we have to use a helicopter is that if you're going into an absolutely pristine virgin area in that part of the world, the government regulations are you have to bring in a helicopter. Even though we have fishing roads that are within 200 meters of our target, we still have to bring in a helicopter. So we use the helicopter to sort of transport a lot of materials to the road that was nearby, and then we walk them in from there. So yeah, it's an interesting project. It was the first of its type there. And I'd say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be reporting on that one too. So we have Alpine, we have Skyline, we also have the new one, Razorback, and the fourth one we have is one called Jasper, which is, it was the last but one news release that we had. Spectacular. We took 54 samples, almost every one bar 4 or 5 of them, had good results back. And they are extremely high grade, some of these ones. I mean, we're having up to 10 grams gold, 16% copper from rock samples. And we've only just started there. That was an old mining district from the 1930s. So the point we're trying to make is there's multiple targets, which was the thesis for going into this general area, all within 30 kilometers, and there's 6 operating mines within 40 kilometers of where we're operating.
Right, and I don't want to get into is Tasmania good for mining? As you say, there's lots of done that. It's good. It's a good place to mine, and they're encouraging of it. But let me talk about. I know you've got a multi-commodity and multi-target project here, and you're trying to sort of understand, what it is that you've got. So you're not sort of chasing necessarily copper in one specific area. You're trying to get a feel for how the geology works. But tell me how you think, given the market conditions at the moment, you need to be addressing the market, because with Skyline, Dora, Razorback, Jasper, etc., there's lots of targets that you can go for, and you're sort of saying, copper over here. You're getting high grade samples at surface at Razorback. You're also seeing rare earths. It's going to get confusing soon unless people kind of start to see you maybe honing in on a narrative and, I guess, a process and a plan which they can understand. So how does this roll out? Because you've got money in the bank. You still got what? 5, 6, 7 million bucks? $6 million. Okay. So you got options there, which a lot of small companies don't, which feels ridiculous. You got $6 million in the bank and you're valued at $9 million. That's a joke. So you're going to have to help people understand what it is that the path forward looks like. So are you starting to...
Fundamentally, with CopperCorp, we're a copper company. And all of these projects, every single one of them, have copper as the fundamental basis for it. And the thesis for going into this part of Tasmania, and particularly in the AMC, which is our first one, which was the Arthur Metamorphic Complex area, 100 kilometers long, was to define projects and particular geological situations that would appeal to large size companies in a safe jurisdiction with all of the good things like 100% renewable energy and positive government. So we have a situation where it's always based on copper, and the idea is that all of these different projects that we have, they might sound like they're all quite different. They're just variations on a theme of the IOCG target. And it just so happens that this Razorback, the latest one that we have, the real reason we've gone onto that property in the first place is that it is the southern extension of the Mount Lyell 3 million ton copper ore body, which still, by the way, has a reported 25-year mine life. To the south of there, we're literally almost on the boundary of that license. There is an extension of the fault that seems to go into an area which is called Jukes on the property, which we'd like to look at. Is lots of surface sampling, some drilling, and as a result of going in there, we knew there was rare earths on there, and we applied for this license over 9 months ago. But it was the government that sort of I don't know, stalled their process for deciding who was going to actually be the winner on it. And then we knew there was a competitive bid. And it just so happens at the southern end of it, at the area called Darwin, there's rare earths. But rare earths are quite common in IOCGs, as you probably well know. I mean, there's a lot of them in Olympic Dam and a lot of other deposits. So as much as it sounds confusing about all of these different aspects, they're all just variations on a theme. The theme is copper. The theme is West Tasmania. And the theme is that we're trying to look for a safe jurisdiction where, our investor money is going to get some return on value eventually. At the moment, yes, we haven't gone out with the big splashy marketing campaign. I mean, yourselves and a couple of others are all that we do at the moment. We've got a very low sort of turnover burn rate when it comes to that side of the aspect. But what we do emphasize is good geology, and we have 4 geologists now working for us 3 geologists in Tasmania, and 2 technicians. And we're beavering away down there and working pretty hard to actually balance the portfolio. And yes, you're right. All of these ones look pretty fantastic. Where do you start? What do you concentrate on? So we have a couple of different scenarios, and the only real advantage, Matt, between a mid-size and a mid-size company and ours, the only advantage we have over theirs is we can move very quickly to market conditions, change our approach. And what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the market. At the moment in Tasmania, it's the winter. It's the down season. We are doing a lot of research on Razorback. We are looking for a partner maybe to get involved with Alpine. And we're going to get the results back from Dora. So we're waiting until we have everything in. And then come October, as you know, the markets start waking up again. We'll be ready to pounce with either a strategic investor behind us or some good results from either Razorback sampling that we've done or the Dora drill results.
Okay, I mean, obviously, I hear what you're saying. But with regards to the money side of things, so it's not deliberately we're hunkering down. It's a case of it's winter, there's no drilling to be done, it's too windy. But there's some desktop research being done. When are you suggesting that you may be able to start once you've decided where you want to go? What month are we talking?
Yeah, September, October is usually when we start.
October.
Pretty busy.
Okay.
We have to apply for, if we're going to drill Dora again, I mean, we're going to have to do another heliborne supported. We would have to start applying to make sure that we get a helicopter and blah, blah, blah. But the point is that one point I have to make is that we actually get a refund from our exploration project at Dora from the government because they're trying to encourage exploration into that area. So we get a certain percentage of our drilling costs we get back again. So it's quite a good win for us. And that, you think in large parts of the world, you're actually being chastised, as you know, where I used to work before. But now we've been encouraged to do more exploration in the area. I mean, it does provide so much to the GDP of that island and of that state that it behooves them to actually encourage it. And this very small part of Tasmania is very much, I don't know, the financial engine for the state.
Right. No, it sounds like things are going well. You're kind of certainly hitting those grades. You've got the cash. You've got time to review that right now, and then before you get back into in September, October. And there's one small thing. You guys also listed an OTCQB. Is that doing much for liquidity at the moment, or is it quiet around the world? Right.
That's a quick question, a very quick answer. No.
There we go. Okay.
I mean, good to see the markets in general. If you look across the board, and certainly that's not helping us particularly now.
Okay. Well, so why should people go in now? Why should they invest in you? Yeah, why now with you guys?
look, we're poised to actually get some results back fairly soon. And I think the point is that if you believe in copper, I mean, you wouldn't get a more pure copper junior play than ourselves in a safe jurisdiction. And look, the board consists of myself and Craig, who have got a lot of experience in big companies, myself with BHP and Rio Tinto. Obviously, I'm going to be calling a few ex-colleagues here to see if they're interested. I know full well what their, if you like, their criteria are now for getting involved. And we tick all of the boxes they're looking for. And therefore, then my job these next few months is to find us a partner and to make sure that our exploration crew take as many samples as they can on the Razorback and the various other targets that we have. I haven't even mentioned some of the other ones, like there's one called Blackfish that we're going to be working on as well, to make sure that we put our best foot forward to produce a portfolio of projects that come October, everyone says, wow, look at these guys. Where did they come from? These quiet achievers.
Yeah. Well, look, let's wrap it up there. That's kind of good update from you. It's been like 6 months since we saw you. Like I say, a lot happened. We'll definitely stay in touch as the drilling starts again. Let us know what you're targeting and how you're going to go about it. Speak soon.
Okay. Thanks very much.